Hey Jim, how you doing?
Hey, good afternoon. Good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon. Good
Yeah,
afternoon.
we are on a special time this time, but no worries. We'll just keep right on rolling. I know it's just 5 to 6 on Wednesdays, but we are actually today on Tuesday at 3 o'clock. So if you're online and checking us out, please feel free to comment. This will all appear on Facebook, all the other places it usually goes. But this week's topic, again, I'm Jim McLaughlin. I'm here with Chester Masterminds and Uncle P, and we're talking about business in Chester. And I got a question for
Surrounding
you, P.
areas, surrounding areas,
Surround
right?
the
Chester
surrounding
and
areas. Absolutely,
surrounding
we're
areas,
an
right?
all-inclusive big tent for small business in the community and around the area. But I got a question for you, real quick.
For
Uh,
me,
yeah, for you. So relationships. And how does your business run? How do you feel about relationships in running a small business? Because you're running a small business.
absolutely. I think relationships are key to the foundation of running a business, right? How people perceive you, how people relate to you, how people work with you is crucial to whether or not your business survives, right? And in areas where there's a lot of tension, right? You pick the wrong side. That's it for you, right? So the radio station has been operating with a sense of standing in the middle, right? Everybody has an opportunity to come here to the radio station to talk about what they offer the city of Chester, what they offer the surrounding communities. And we've been doing that since day one, right? I don't pick sides. I don't do the extra stuff. So, but a lot of people, it might appear that way, but it's business, right? If
Right.
someone offers you some money to promote their situation, that's what I'm supposed to do. That's my job. That's how I make my money, right? As a radio station. So, you know,
So you care
yeah,
about relationships, across a spectrum of things, right? You've got all the different shows that are here. You've got the different elements of the community, whether it be, parents or students or children or seniors, people involved in all manner of life across the community. And Chester or CMP Radio is a platform for conversation, for connecting across all of that. And so you build relationships that foster those kind of communications. And I think every small business has to find, the network of relationships that work to promote their goal. And presumably, I mean, I would want every business to have a bigger goal than just making money, than just, making a product or service. They want to serve their community. And often the relationships that they form enable them to do that better and to be really connected in with with what's going on. So relationships, I completely agree, are foundational. And so that's why in the business planning process, we talk about, and it's necessary that we talk about the kinds of relationships that we want to build with the different kinds of stakeholders that make our business run. You can have relationships with employees, you can have relationships with customers, with suppliers, with advertisers, with people who want to they have a stake in your business. They have the stake in your success. And so every one of those different avenues is an opportunity for a relationship. And you want to be clear about the relationship that you're trying to establish, because it can very much affect the success of your business. So it's worth talking about. So we're pleased to have with us today someone I think that can talk a lot about relationships. We have Jared Loss and Rockdale Music and Studios joining with us today. And let's see.
oh, come on, Jim. There we go.
Here we go.
I do one,
Hello.
you do the other.
Isn't that cool?
Yep, I'm in.
There you're
How you
in.
doing,
Thanks for
Jim?
having me. Thanks for having me, Jim. And
Oh,
Uncle P.
we love it. It's great. It's great to have you coming in. I'm really excited. We've got a little bit of a video to run right off the top, just so that people can get a sense of what you do. It's something that I want to encourage all of our guests to do. I'm just continuing to educate folks. We're learning how to do the program here, but this kind of an intro video, then we've done a few of them now, I think really help to introduce people to the business. So if you're good, Jared, we're gonna go ahead and run up your video and see what's going on. All
Rock
right.
and roll.
All right, stand by.
Seeing the kids play and without like it's when when we take off the leash and say go, that to me is like, and I get to just become a fan rather than their teacher. That is like I get goosebumps. I'm getting goosebumps right now just talking about it. I'm Jared Loss from Rockdale Music. I started playing music when I was about in 4th or 5th grade. Alto saxophone actually was my first instrument. Didn't feel it. Tried clarinet, didn't feel that either. So then a couple years later, my parents bought me my first drum set for Hanukkah, and I just would sit in the basement every day after school, practicing for hours until my parents would shut the lights off in the basement to let me know it was dinner time. For probably about a year, I was doing exterior painting during the day and then teaching at night, and I reached a breaking point where I was like, all right, I either need to use my degree and get a real job, or I need to quit doing the exterior painting and like jump fully into teaching music. And one of my friends actually recommended I reach out to Kim Fink, who runs Making Music. She was also running Rockdale at the time. So I started as a substitute teacher at Rockdale, and a couple months after starting, she decided she was going to shut down the school because it wasn't working for her financially. And I wrote a business plan that weekend to save Rockdale, and then took Rockdale over. And almost 12 years later, I haven't run it into the ground yet. We are now going as Rockdale Music and Studios because we offer so much more than just music lessons. We do offer group programs starting at ages 4 and up. We're starting recording and production programming. We're going to start some video and photography programming as well. So it's really about creating a scene. That's really what I want to do. Walking into this space as a blank slate was amazing for me to be able to create whatever I needed for Rockdale to really become. I've had big ideas of what I wanted Rockdale to be. Ida, Stacy, and Sharon and Wiley have all been amazing to work with. They've made it very, very easy for us to move forward. I say it all the time, like I get to be a part of a lot of people's villages, right? Their village to raise up their kids, and I can't ask for anything better for people to let me into their lives like that, and let us, all of our teachers, in that space.
Awesome. That's really great. It's great to see the energy, and it's great that you turned it around. I mean, you saw what the potential was, and you said, I can make this work. I can make this work.
Right. So we weren't quite a startup, but we had an opportunity, and I had an opportunity. I knew what I wanted to do, and decided this is how we're going to do it.
Well, you were lucky that you weren't starting from complete scratch, but since you had to write a business plan, it was clear the business probably wasn't making money. So, you had to go back and redefine what it meant to make money, how to be sustainable. So, so talk a little bit about just the origin of Rockdale even before you got there. I mean, are you able to say how it came into being? What was the goal then?
Oh, sure. So I actually, my degree is actually in tourism and hospitality management. So I don't have a music degree. I was actually kind of looking for, my parents really wanted me to go to college, and they were going to help me out with college as long as I didn't go to school for music. So I figured I'd pick a degree that I thought sounded pretty easy, so that I could practice. So I could practice music and perform as well on the side. So that's kind of how I always had this interest in music. Didn't exactly know how I was going to get into that world. So soon after graduating college, I moved out to California and worked for a PBS documentary series called Road Trip Nation. And what the premise of Road Trip Nation is like to define your own road in life. And so we did that by interviewing people similar to like what you guys are doing, interviewing leaders that we called in all different walks of life and all different industries to find out how they got to where they are. And Road Trip Nation is still doing tons of content and programming for high school age kids and college age kids. So now it's kind of going younger and helping kids figure out what they want to do first and then start them on that path. So Road Trip Nation inspired me to go like, okay, I have to do something with music. I moved back home because what we talked about earlier, relationships. I have more relationships back here than I did in California. So I moved home. I was teaching some music lessons on my own, as I mentioned in that video. At night, I was doing some private lessons, just getting some kids, some students off of Craigslist ads and that kind of thing. And Craigslist was a big hit back then, and I just really kind of got to a tipping point where I was like, do I really want to be teaching music, or do I need to? I was doing exterior painting, or get a real job, do something else, and finally decided I'm going to do music. I reached out to Kim Fink, who was running Rockdale Music at the time. She also runs Making Music, which is for like the real little guys, the birth to age 3 or 4. They do their programming, which is like more of a mommy and me class, a music enrichment class. Was working for Making Music, was working with Rockdale as well. And then a couple months into working at Rockdale, and she decided it was time for her to focus all of her energy on making music, which gave me the opportunity to take Rockdale and see if I could keep it alive, and haven't run into the ground yet. So doing all right.
You noted in there that you had to write a business plan over a weekend. And did you have help with that? And did she help you or?
No, luckily my tourism and hospitality management degree I did have one class in entrepreneurship in tourism and hospitality management. So I learned how to write business plan in that class. Luckily, I didn't have to. My business plan was more really just to prove to Kim that I had given this a lot of thought, and that she could trust me with it. I wasn't really going for any funding or anything like that. So I just mine was more of like a proof of concept than having a lot of details as far as financial. It was a pretty bare bones business plan. It more just talked about the vision, more of a vision plan actually, probably than a traditional business plan. But
so clearly though, you were trying to transition from, you had a clientele, or say you at least some clientele already. You were wanting to maintain and grow that, right?
Yes.
And so it was more about a transition plan. I don't think this is actually an unusual circumstance where a business owner will decide that they really have a different focus in their lives or their profession and want to transition out of a business,
yes,
and where it's an opportunity for others to come in and take over and see it through, see it more, in another direction, sort of pivoting, and you could say it, but more pivoting the leadership more than pivoting much else. But
many of the entrepreneurs that I know, you could call them serial entrepreneurs, right? Where you run multiple businesses or run multiple different things going on, and you have to sometimes decide where you want to focus your energy.
So in rethinking it, I mean, this is where we talk about that relationship thing, but yeah, it's a relationship with who, with someone. And so did you go through a process of figuring out, okay, who is our target market here? What are the students? What's the source of students that we're going to have? Did you do population studies? Did you do any kind of analysis like that?
All of the above. Luckily, what we had really going for us is Making Music. I kind of refer to it as like my farm system, right? Is that I have this program that was right down the hill from where we were located. That was kids who are already into music. So we had this, and that's where that relationship with Kim and I from Making Music really, it paid off well, both. And that was how I actually bought the business from Kim, was a percentage of the profits, or a percentage of each student that came from Making Music was going to go right back to her. So I was still
paying her for that, for the privilege to be able to contact those students. And also speaking to relationships, Kim, I had known since I was in 4th grade. Her son was my best friend in elementary school. So I knew her for 20 something years before I had taken over the business. So a lot of building trust over those years, and her seeing where I was going with my career.
Right. And so it's not just with the students, and you have a relationship with parents, I assume.
Yes.
And other artists. Can you talk about that?
Right. The student relationship is obviously for us our most important relationship. They're the kids. They're the people we see each week. But the parents, I mean, they're our biggest fans, really, for the kids, for their own kids, and for our programming as well. We just did an open house this past weekend, actually, and it was the first time we had our rock band kids performing since the beginning of performing in front of a live audience. We've done some live streaming and some recording, and just seeing all the parents there smiling and watching their kids perform it was refreshing to see that. And that's the reason we do this. And really all the parents, they volunteer to help us with lots of different things going on here. Some parents brought cookies to hand out to everybody at the open house. So they're just, our parents are great. We have a fantastic community at Rockdale, and that's what keeps us growing. They're also probably our best marketing is our parents. They can speak on how it actually affects their own children. So it's
right.
Yeah, that's really.
Now I have a question. You just mentioned parents, and I go back to your parents not wanting to pay for college if you were majoring in music, but this music situation is where you are right now. How important is it for parents to allow their kids not to do what they want, but if they have a lot of passion, because I hear a lot of passion in your voice. I could just tell by the way you run your business that you have a lot of passion for creating music. Your parents didn't see that at that time, or they didn't know?
You know what? I think I don't blame my parents at all for this, because I was when I was that age, I was jumping around and I had a new interest every other couple of weeks. So it was kind of like music was always a big part of what I was doing. But actually, when I initially went away to school, I was studying physical therapy and sports medicine. But the sciences, they weeded me out of those programs pretty quickly. And I just didn't have the same passion that you mentioned for that career. So it was kind of when I was trying to figure out what I do next, that my parents were kind of like, pick something. And I think they were absolutely right. Pick something that was a little bit more conventional, that like you could, if the music thing doesn't work out, you can fall back on it. Right. And so my parents are very, very, very supportive of me once I show that I'm really committed to it.
Right.
And I think that's an important thing. But yes, to answer your question, support what your kids want to do, but make sure they also know the realities of what's going to happen too. I mean, I have a lot of students' parents who say, almost kind of like talk my son out of going to school for music. And I'm like, I'm not going to talk them out of going to school for music. I'll describe to them the realities of it, that like, if you're going to pursue music as a career, it's difficult. It's very difficult. It's very, very difficult. You're going to probably work harder than all of your other friends for less money, for not benefits, and for it's tough. But if it makes you happy, it's worth all
being happy, right?
Right. It's worth all of that work. So,
and along those lines, you mentioned that in our discussions before that you recognize that this is a business. This is, and you prepare your students for that eventuality, if not reality. the possibility that they might want to pursue a career or something related to the music industry or the entertainment industry in general. How do you go about that? What kind of things do you teach them?
So yeah, so we teach a lot more than just, you know, your conventional music lessons. We build bands and they're, excuse me, we call it our rock band program, where they get together, they put together bands, they really pick their songs that they want to learn. We work on creative songwriting and recording. So it's really kind of showing them like the whole gamut of what's going on behind the scenes and in front of and on the stage and under the lights. Because the music industry is, everybody thinks of the music industry as like the pop star or the band, but like there's so much more going. It's like an iceberg, right? There's so much more but underneath the water than the person right on stage. You've got managers, you've got PR, you've got digital distribution, or are you doing vinyl? Then you've got to have artwork, and you've got to do photography, and you have to have videography now with everything. So I look at that as like, I refer to it as like the scene, right? Is that I played a lot of different bands in the Philadelphia area, and the most important thing about Philadelphia music is like there's a music scene in Philadelphia that supports each other and supports collaboration. And that's why people move from other areas to Philadelphia for their band to gain some notoriety. We have a big population in the city. You know, are we LA or Nashville or New York? No, but we've got our own niche, and we've got the sound of Philadelphia. That's we've got our own thing here, and it's an amazing
sound too. Absolutely.
What's that?
I said it's an unmistakable sound. The sound of Philadelphia.
Oh yeah, I mean it's the Philly's answer to Motown, right? And we've got Gamble and Huff, and you've got John Coltrane lived in the city. There's a lot of jazz that comes from Philadelphia. A lot of amazing stuff. David Bowie loved Philadelphia too, right? So
a lot of deep roots,
Yeah.
and it takes more than, you know, it takes a lot to make sound come out of something, right? There's there's engineering. I mean, my son is an electrical engineer because I taught him, you know, because he was he was a string bass player, very good, loved it, you know, got into some digital music composition and things, loved that. And I said, I told him, I said, it's going to be tough to make a living like this, but all the behind the scenes stuff that happens to make that work is complex. It takes some engineering, it takes some technical skill. And I said, if you really love this and you want to have something you can eat with and play music, because he loved playing music, still does, you can be an engineer to make the sound come out right. So that he went and got his engineering degree. So I mean, connecting these things through whatever career path. I mean, that was the career that he chose. But you can do it in so many ways, and I'm sure that that you see that too, because I know and Uncle P will tell you, the cost of microphones and the cost of soundboards and speakers and displays and all the things that it takes to put a radio station on, very similar to what it takes to put a studio together, a music studio together. And, there's a lot behind that. There's a lot of technical skill, a lot of understanding that it takes to do those things. So you're in a perfect position to connect passion with skill in a lifelong way, right?
Right. And most of our students, I know most of our students are not going to end up being professional musicians, and that's
like they're not going to go to the NBA.
Part of exactly. We're not everybody. Not everybody who's playing basketball is going to make it to the NBA. But if you learn those life lessons through music, then take that to whatever field of choice you want to go into. I mean, I do have students that are that went to, school for composition or did something different. And they are making some money composing works for commercial
activities. Yeah.
activities
Right.
like doing commercial work, saying, like video game, film, that kind of stuff. But then I have another great student who decided architecture was her thing, and she's going to Pratt, or getting close to graduating from Pratt University or Pratt. Is it University of College? Something. Pratt up in New York City. I can't remember if it's a university or college, but so
Well, I think
everybody and all different types of things. So
and you probably know this. I mean, I know this. I'm a former school director. That music connects directly into math skill.
Yep.
Obviously into artistic skill, but mathematics seems to be highly aligned to learning and playing music. And so when you have a good foundation in mathematics, you can do almost anything that you want. There's almost the world is wide open to you when you have that foundation and an aptitude. And for whatever reason, music seems to excite the same kinds of connections in the brain that mathematics taps into, and it all connects. It all really,
especially reading piano music. I know that I read a study that was pianists have the lowest level of Alzheimer's and dementia, piano players, in the whole human, in all of humanity, because of those synapses, the connection between the right and left brain. It's that like connection between those two that makes that keeps your brain active. So it found it to be interesting.
That's great. So anybody famous come out?
Well, come out of what we're doing here.
Yeah.
I mean, not really fame. I'm not. That's one thing I downplay a lot with the students too. Is that like it's not about fame. It's about joy. It's about enjoyment of what you do. Because I know a lot of people who have strived for fame that ended up miserable, and I don't want anybody to do that. But I mean,
look for that.
Right. Locally, I do know a lot of people who I look up to as I think as, celebrities to me. Right. So that's how I'll dance around that question.
Well, I want to take a break for just a minute, do a little bit of advertising for the radio station. We'll come back and keep going. And I want to hear more about the kinds of the instruments, the kind of music, and some more about what you guys do. Does that sound good?
Sounds great. All
right. So, folks, I just want to remind everybody that, a community radio station like CMP Radio does not run itself. JP and the whole team that are here supporting it are what it takes to make a radio station like this. It also takes the involvement of the businesses and the community members in Chester and the surrounding area to make this whole thing work. CMP Radio was founded in 2017 as a local internet radio station serving Chester, shaking up the community, using a common language of music and talk, while maintaining a "We Are the Family" message. There is a growing team of folks here. The number of programs is also growing. You'll see on the Facebook feed a new survey about the kinds of programs and kinds of shows that you would like to be interested in. I encourage you to go out and check it out and provide us with your opinions, because we want to bring the right programs to the radio station, things that you're interested in, and things that you'd like perhaps even to be involved in as we move forward. If you believe in Chester, we believe in Chester. We want you to connect your business. We want to connect your organization, in with the residents and the listeners here in the Chester and the surrounding area. We're looking for sponsors. So if you have a particular interest that you want to promote, we're happy to work with you to develop a program. And all of that information is available on the website at cmpradio.net. And we are definitely cultivating mature positivity, because that's what it takes to bring every community together. We invite you to be part of it, and I look forward to continuing to promote and highlight businesses here in the Chester community. So with that, Mr. P.
Yo, bro.
Summer's coming. Summer's coming.
Summer's definitely coming. I'm looking forward to us working with the kids with the Chester Education Foundation. I'm looking forward to us trying to get into the high school to bring those kids, to get those kids to help me out with the football and the basketball games during football and basketball season. Yeah, man, summer's coming. We'll be working on year 4 in September. September 2nd of 2021 will be year 4 of cmpradio.net. And, the sky's the limit, bro. The sky's the limit. You coming on, everybody that's helping, Leslie, Portia, Mike, everybody that's helping me, allowing me to get my dream out, right? Because I feel like we're going to turn this into a radio station you can hear on the knob. I know it now.
Right.
That's what I'm fighting for.
When
that's what I want.
When you first started in 2017, how many programs were you running then? And
it was funny because it was only one show. When I first started, I wanted 2 shows. So I had Fatima Ali and Brianna Elise. They were helping me out. They had their show. And then I had my show, Revolutionary Minds. I was like, you can't start a radio station with one show. So we had 2 shows when we were up in Philly. When we came down here, things that got scattered, everybody had things to do. Because, again, there's no money in this. In the beginning, there's no money at all. So you have to have a passion for it. It has to drive you to come up and have the conversations. And so we started the radio station. I interviewed a couple people, brought a couple people on. They wanted their own shows. They wanted to be out there in the community. And I kind of regret letting them come in so early because I didn't know what I could do, right? Everything was new to me. So my show was a trial and error, right? It was like, all right, we're going to set the camera up here. We're going to do this. Oh, that camera doesn't work. All right, we need a phone. All right, that phone doesn't work. And I'm constantly looking for better ways to produce the content that I have, to put that content out so it looks attractive. And now we're in a place where, all right, it looks good, but what does it sound like, right? So then the sound, the visual, the audio, the microphones, what kind of microphones am I buy, what kind of, so it's a headache, but it's a welcome headache. Like I wake up every morning, I'm like, all right, what can I do better than yesterday? And there's so many things on my list. If I show you my list of things that I have to do throughout the day, you'd be like, no, you don't do all of that. Like, yes, I do. And I'm trying to get it all done and give the right energy to the right people so they understand what I want for my city, right? For my city, for our entertainers, for our R&B singers, for our poets, all of these things that I feel like we need to be able to do because we are a city. A city needs a radio station.
I think that the way you've described it to me just there, all the things that it takes to run a station, things that you have to do. This summer, I think that you are going to have an opportunity to, just like Jared is doing, explaining what the business of the music industry might be like, to also do the same thing for other students who come in and want to understand how does a radio station, because these are media channels that a lot of students come in contact with, whether it be through through Spotify or some other internet source. They're exposed to a lot of media channels in a lot of ways, and learning about how those things come about is a great skill. And there's a lot behind it that makes opportunities for everyone involved. And I think it'll be exciting for them. I look forward to doing what I can to help as well. And I look forward to hearing what Jared has to say about, what more they're doing to grow there, because you've evolved your business, and I want to hear about, Jared and how he's evolving his as well.
There he is. There's Jared.
Because this is not easy, right?
Right. Well, and congratulations to you, Uncle P. I mean, that's awesome what you're doing there, because you're right. A city needs a voice, and it sounds like you're trying to give. A city needs multiple voices, and you're just allowing all of those. You're allowing all of those voices to be heard. That's one of the best things you can do for anybody. Just listen, right? Just give them a voice to be heard and listen, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. So real quick, so you've had to go through some evolution. I assume that there have been good things that have happened, some challenges that have occurred. What kind of pivots have you tried some things that just didn't work? And then, so what happens when that happens?
constantly pivoting, constantly trying things that don't work. I think early, like I was just joking with one of my buddies. Actually, I sent an email out that I copied him on it, and he responded like, "Man, really well written email." Like, I had to take a class. He works more in like the corporate world, and he was like, I had to take a class on how to like write business emails like this. And I was like, I think I just got it from like the School of Hard Knocks Entrepreneurship, which is the first few years you don't know what you're doing, and you're making a lot of mistakes, and those mistakes cost you money, and then you learn from those mistakes. So big pivot in the past year. Obviously, everybody's been doing lots of pivoting, but we had actually moved out of our original location, and we had a plan for this large community arts center that we were going to be building. But we had a temporary space in the meantime at a local Catholic school that is no more the Catholic school. They just run CCD there. They don't have the Monday through Friday school anymore. And while we were there, the deal that we were working on fell through completely. And so we kind of had to completely decide all right, that all fell apart. Where do we go next? Also, so while we were in that interim space, the COVID-19 happened. So now we're in an interim space. We don't know where our next space is going to be. Now we have to change our entire business model to be a virtual music school, which we did in one weekend because I have an amazing staff that just decided, like, was on board right away. I went through every single program that we could use to do virtual lessons. We tried Zoom, we tried Blue Jeans, we tried all these different ones until we found the thing that really worked, and we could still provide a really good lesson experience to our students. And then luckily, the next space that we were moving into, that opportunity became available. So kind of like I joke, like kind of like the Baltimore Colts in the middle of the night. We moved out of our other space and moved into this new space that is behind me and where I'm in right now. And it's just it's an awesome space. I had a completely blank slate to build really what I wanted to build in here. So and luckily the funding was out there because of the COVID stuff. Right. It actually made it really easy for us. Not easy, but easier. Right. Easier to find some capital to make the moves that we needed to move. And now we're actually finishing up some renovations on the loft, and we're looking at expanding into the adjacent unit because things are going so well. So so there's expansion plans in the works. As I mentioned, we're like starting a lot of new programs: the songwriting program, recording, live sound. We're doing lighting, photography, videography. These are all future plans that we haven't quite gotten to yet, but they're on the docket. Like Uncle P said, my list is daunting, but it's but as long as you cross a couple things off that list every day, or right. Make not even cross things off, make moves towards crossing things off. It's baby steps. It's always baby steps.
Where are you guys located right now?
We're in Aston Township, so right down the road, right down 352, and then take a left down Glen Riddle Road, and we're back in like the old mill, the mill area. So it's an old industrial area that it was actually an old carpet mill in the area. So I think textiles were a big thing in Chester too, right? So. Right. But I work with a couple different organizations in Chester, which is how we met. Jim was working with Priority Delco Thrive, right. And I'm also a member of the Delaware County Arts Consortium, which is another collaborative arts. A group of arts right. organizations that we all work to help each other because rather than compete, we realize our voices are louder when we all work together and and have one giant megaphone versus everybody else, all of us just screaming into the void.
So tell me a little bit about just so I know exactly, and we let everybody know, what instruments do you teach? What, and what,
Sure.
What the program is about.
Sure.
At the music, at the lesson side of it. I know you do the entrepreneurial side as well.
Right. So our business, we at Rockdale, we teach guitar, bass, drums, piano, vocal, trumpet, flute, violin, ukulele. So really, I have an amazing team of teachers who are really, really talented musicians. That most of them are performing musicians from Philadelphia, in the Philadelphia region. But I think it's really important that our teachers are performing and writing and creating still. I want the kids to see that, like, creation is a part of your life. And doing this stuff is going to be a part of your life. I had a lot of music teachers. I had a lot of fantastic music teachers, but I had some that were kind of more on the twilight of their music careers, where they kind of were a little bit more of a curmudgeon. And I was like, this isn't helping me to inspire me. So I really make sure we have a lot of people, always people in the studio who are inspiring, that inspire me too. I go to see my teachers play all the time, and they're some of the best musicians in this area. So it's great.
That's terrific. And so, one of the things that I just getting back to sort of how your business runs, I noticed that you've got a pretty elaborate website. Not every business can do that or may need to do that, but what does it take to pull that all together? That's sort of probably one of your many, today's tasks is put another blog post out or put a video out on all these things.
Right.
Do you have somebody helping you to pull that all together? So
initially I had somebody running our complete website, and then I took it over. That teacher had left. He was one of my teachers. So he was doing all of our graphic design and things like that, and graphic design and website. Then I really kind of took it over when he left. And I've been managing our website now for a couple years. So many hours. I don't know if I will recommend that to anybody. I would say be smart with your time, like outsource when you can. Now I do have people helping me more on the marketing side, some of the content. I do have a great marketing team, part-time marketing. I mean, it's very much, they run their own business, and I'm just one part of what they do. So not really like full-time staff members or anything like that. You can find a graphic design, though. I have a really good friend who does my graphic design. It's one of my actually former students that's running our social media marketing and our blog and things, because I figured, who knows our business better than a former student? Right. That really, so as much as you can kind of keep it in-house, but be smart about, don't overhire and get yourself into trouble too, right?
Well, you continue to point out the fact that you've got, almost everywhere you turn, every question I ask, you're talking about somebody that you have a relationship with that is helping you to be successful, and you're paying people. They're part of the business, but at the same time, the trust that you have built with different folks because of what they've done, because of the fact that they've been your student, they know you know them. That's all. Trust is an enormous part of it, and I hear it over and over again in the number of relationships that it takes for you to be able to knit this all together on a daily basis, to pull it together. How many classes are you running? So maybe go back real quick. So during the pandemic, how are you actually operating? Do you have students in the studios now, or on limited, or what's the procedure?
So it was about, I would say, from March through August of last year, we were strictly virtual. I may have had a couple of in-person lessons, but Luckily, one of our spaces is like 500 square feet. So we were in there, we spaced ourselves out. Different layers of safety. We've got air purifiers in every room. Everybody's masked up all the time. We're always sanitizing and doing all that too. We started bringing kids back in around September. Some of my teachers coming back, based really just on communication with the parents. I've been constantly communicating with our parents and putting out surveys. What do you feel comfortable with? What do you want us to do? And really just listening. That was asking questions and listening. And that way it feels like I'm not really making these decisions. I'm just listening to what our clients and what our families want. Right. And that's the best advice I can give any business owner is just listen to your clients and do what they want. I mean, not everything they want, but especially when it comes to the safety of their children, listen to everything that they say.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's going to be essential. What's coming next? Where talk about the future. Do you collaborate with other businesses or other music, rock school, music training, organizations, and where's this industry going?
Right. So I work a lot with different arts organizations in the area. We're actually working with different artists in my direct community to create an arts district in the Rockdale Arts District. Rockdale is the name of the area. It's the old historic name of the area. So we're trying to bring back that old historic name of this small subsection of Aston. So we really collaborate together to promote each other's work. That's been a big thing. Like I said, we're working on expanding into a space next door. That's going to be able to allow us to offer more programming, more group programming. I see that as the future of music lessons and education is that group programming where peer learning. I feel like peer learning is definitely the best way anybody learns. So the more that we can have kids learning from other kids, with assistance from a teacher to kind of keep it moving, because sometimes the kids, when they all just get into a room, it just turns into a hang sesh, and we got to make sure we're actually getting things going. But we're also looking at building a music venue at the space next door too. So that now this would be the culmination of everything we've been teaching and working towards. Is that I really want it to be a music school that's kind of like a little bit of like the inmates run the asylum. Like, let the kids run the music venue, like book the bands, run the sound, promote the shows, do everything. And that's where it gets into that. They're learning entrepreneurship without them knowing that they're learning entrepreneurship. Right. They look at it as like, I'm getting to book a show. And I'm like, well, booking a show is a special event, and learning to book a special event and everything that goes into a special event is great practice in all aspects of life. I mean, even if special event management isn't your, if you're going to get married one day, guess what? That's a special event. You're going to have to learn how to manage that too. So,
right. Yeah. I mean, just so people know, our guest next week is going to be talking about event management. That's what her business is.
Perfect.
And, yes, there's a big checklist of stuff that you have to work on, and I'm sure that you're teaching them that how to do that. There's
God bless special event managers. Because that was the tourism and hospitality management. I was actually working more in special events a lot.
So you know that really well. Yeah. Well, we'll have to see. One of the things that I hope to do through this program is connect entrepreneurs with other entrepreneurs. Yes. Who might be able to collaborate on particular issues and needs where they see that, and provide even, brand new startups, if we can, as we find them as well. Mm-hmm. Like, if you need, say, some music production or a little bit of special composition to get a cool, video for your new business. Well, hey, go out there and get the kids involved and see what they can put together. Maybe they'll compose a special song for you, or they'll, I assume that you teach editing and
yes, yeah. Actually, one of our students just created a jingle rap for Stefan Roots and he's running for the city council in Chester. I met him at a priority Delco Thrive meeting, and he reached out and said, "Hey, do you have anybody who might be able to create a jingle?" And I knew exactly the kid who was he's 12 years old, and he's producing all of his own music already, and he put something together. I sent it off to Mr. Roots today, and he loved it. So
so now we're talking about the big goal of CMP Radio and bringing together these kinds of organizations, because it's exactly how a community grows. It's how it develops, by bringing all of these resources together in a way that promotes, and it doesn't have to be about politics. It can be about, so many other aspects of community life. If you need a video or a song, so they have the Ruth Bennett Farm. It's a community farm in Chester. Maybe you want to go host a music event there that highlights student players, student groups, but it also highlights the advantage of having a community farm, at the same time. We integrate these things together, and all those things can kind of start to work together. You can there's countless things that you can have. Every sporting event can be an opportunity to show off at halftime or at other breakpoints in the, musical talent from what you're doing to point out, hey, this is what, those kids are out on the field or in the court or wherever they're playing their thing. Well, look, here's another group of kids doing their thing. And, you can see it all, merge together in some way. And it's obviously a great advertisement for the business, but it really reflects more about your goal. And I think it's got to be your goal is to connect the community into music, connect them into what kids can learn, and their educational opportunities. All of those things I would think are it's what I'm about here. And I know it's what CMP Radio is about. So, this has been one thing I forgot to ask you, since we're getting towards the end of the show, is, if somebody, are you able to offer any special deals to anybody coming out?
Yeah, so we offer free trial lessons for all of our new students. Any new student who wants to come in and give it a shot, come see the space. Even if you just want to do a tour, we do offer also. We have a recording studio for not just kids, for anybody. So if you ever want to come and do a tour, we do rehearsal space for bands. So there's lots all the time. We've got something else going on. But yeah, we welcome you just to reach out with any questions you have. If I'm not the guy to help you out, I usually have a network of somebody I can refer you to. So if it is videography or photography or graphic design, I have a large network that I can help you out with, that are very, very professional people that do amazing work, high quality work too. So
that's great. And I know that's something that every business needs, a snappy way to present themselves and increasingly. And this is something that I know I'm going to be working on, because we want to connect into the Chester Business Association. I also want to reach out to the Delaware County Chamber of Commerce. But every, online advertising, is a special thing. And it almost always requires some sort of graphic design, video design, audio production, integration in with that. And, this gets directly into what I think you're really training a lot of students for, which is how to be part of making that all possible.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of skill involved in that. And it's not just always about playing your guitar. There's a lot of other aspects to that are needed, and doing that for your community is a great way to get experience. It's that 10,000 hour thing, right? The more chances you can get to play, the more chances you get to host an event or coordinate something, the better it is that it's going to be. And there are literally countless opportunities that I want to make sure that businesses understand that they need, every business needs to promote themselves, and there's no better way to do that than through a nice song or an event tied into students or youth development. It's sort of like they always talk about never be an artist on stage when there's an animal or a child on stage with you, because they completely dominate the scene. The same thing is true for a business. You want to host an event, there's no better way to do that than to bring students out because they got to bring parents, and they got to bring grandparents, and they're going to bring aunts and uncles, and they're going to bring a lot of people with them. There's no child, very few children that don't have at least one or two extra folks tagging along, to see what's going on. Yeah, and it's a great opportunity to engage a lot of folks around that, and this doesn't take that much.
Yeah. And build that community, and it builds community, and when you build community, again, like people notice. Yep. People notice when you're building a community around you, when you're doing positive things for everybody around you. People take notice, and those are legacy things that also will last longer than you and I and my business and your business and everything. Like, these community continues.
Absolutely. Well, we've reached the sort of the end of this. It's been fabulous. What, if you've had one big lesson learned in going from that weekend of, writing up that business concept, what's the thing that you would tell anybody, getting started in a business that they need to pay a lot of attention to?
Perseverance is going to be the big thing. I think perseverance and just understanding there's going to be a lot of challenges. There's going to be constant challenges, but you know what? There's going to be challenges in everything that you do. So perseverance, it's a lot easier when you have passion and when you have love too. So if you have passion and love for something, then it's easier to persevere. So love what you're doing. Love what you're doing if you can.
Absolutely. Follow your passions. Absolutely. And it'll carry you through it, and build that network of people who love you and want to see you succeed, because they're going to be a great backstop as well. Well, thank you, Jared. I appreciate it. Good luck to Rockdale Music.
Thank you, P. Yeah.
And I'm not sure where P went. He must have had something going on, but
right.
But I know, you can see the conversations that we have. He cares an awful lot about the same issues that we've been talking about, and we wish you all the best. And
right back at you.
We'll see you around, and we'll let you go. And you're welcome to log off whenever it's convenient. But we appreciate it. All right.
All right. Thanks, Jim.
We'll talk to you soon. All right.
Take care, everyone.
So that's another week, another wrap for this week. Appreciate everybody who chimed in. We appreciate the chance to present some great businesses here in the local Chester area. I do want to encourage any business that has an interest in promoting themselves to take advantage of other businesses that you have seen here. We have more coming. And please suggest other companies, other businesses that you'd like to see profiled here on CMP Radio. I'm more than happy to do that. I'm excited to hear their stories. I'm excited to hear all of the stories. Every entrepreneur is, as you heard Jared say, persevering against a lot of challenges. But we know that with the support of a network, a mastermind group, as we like to say, everyone can be successful. So thank you all for participating. Again, I look forward to seeing it's Crystal Burrell, and she does a great event planning business next week. We will be live again next Wednesday at 5 o'clock, and have a great week, and we'll see you soon. Take care.